Let me teach you a really cool trick. Sometimes some of the simplest stuff is the stuff that stumps people. It's kind of like who's buried in Grant's tomb? Grant is. Uh, I showed you in a prior video how you can make one of these yourself. It's an 18% fold up gray card, 18% gray, i.e. zone 5 card for metering your scenes. See, your camera has in it a reflectance meter. Doesn't matter if it's a Nikon, a Canon, or a Sony. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take an incident reading, meaning light that's actually falling on my subject here. Let's say I'm going to take a picture of something on this piece of driftwood. It doesn't matter if the card's here or not. When I'm taking an incident reading, that doesn't matter. 80th at f4. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to a reflected meter reading. This is a 1 degree spot meter. There's 2 meters in this, an incident meter and a reflectance meter, 1 degree spot. Same thing that's in your camera. Your camera has matrix, center, and spot. Most cameras are not 1 degree spot. You notice I get an 80 at f4. Now this is actually, if you actually pose this question to like a photography school teacher, not a student, but a teacher, and you ask them the simple question, what's the difference between taking an incident meter reading with a professional light meter of something that you're going to meter, or sticking a gray card in the scene and then taking a reflected meter reading? Meaning, obviously with this reflectance reading, I'm actually reading the same as your camera, the light that is coming off of this 18% gray zone 5 card, which is also this, by the way. What's the difference between the two? An incident meter reading of your subject, light falling on, incidence, or a reflected meter reading using an 18% gray card. What's the difference? I guarantee you 99 out of 100 teachers of photography will go, ah. It's like, this should be in their mind. As I've already said, 95% of people don't need a professional light meter. And this is an expensive one, too. It's a $650 light meter. Get by with a lot cheaper one, too. Of course, it makes some really simple meters, like 150 bucks. But this has all those bells and whistles that make you go, oh, yeah. Especially if you're going to use it for strobe photography. So what is the difference between those two? You notice I got the exact same reading at 1000 ISO, f4, which I'm aperture priority. Take an incident meter reading for my variable of aperture priority, gives me a output of 80th of a second. Doesn't matter if it's an incident meter reading or reflected meter reading, it reads the same. That's the answer. There is no damn difference. It's the same thing. So the premise is that since you have a reflected meter in your camera and you can spot meter, that's why I actually changed my preview button to spot. When I hit that button on the front of my camera, it will actually automatically, without me having to change from matrix and center and spot on the top of my camera, I just hit the preview button in front and the camera switches from matrix to spot. Just hit that button. Really good idea. I'm able to hand this to someone I'm taking a picture of, no matter where they're at. I'm able to take the exact same thing as a professional incident meter reading. Obviously, where you position it and where you meter it's important. It doesn't matter whether it's reflectance or incidence. You have to know what you're metering for. But since I'm actually taking a reflected meter reading of an 18% gray card, it is no different than actually taking an incident meter reading. Incident, reflectance, okay? No difference. Take an incident meter reading of my face or a model's face or a puppy dog or whatever the hell it is you're going to shoot, a baby. No difference between that and having the subject hold. Obviously your dog's not going to hold a gray card, but you know, you can hold it out by your hand with your camera. Boop. Take a reflectance reading in spot mode on your camera. Spot metering mode. Not matrix, but spot. You take a matrix metering mode, unless your card is about that big and covering the entire scene, it's not going to meter correctly. It needs to be spot. You also need to verify what camera you have as far as the degrees that your spot meter reading is in on your specific camera. So the answer to that is there's no difference. So of those people that want to get by without a light meter, as I've already said, 95% of people don't need a light meter. There's no difference between sticking your camera in spot metering mode and taking a reflectance reading of an 18% gray card. The reading will be exactly the same. Okay? That's the tip of the day on exposuring. I did say exposuring. I've had too much coffee today. On exposure metering. I said exposure. That's a new word, exposuring. Note to self, stop drinking so much coffee before making videos. So, make one of these, buy one of these. I made a video prior to this showing how you can make one for really, really cheap, because you could buy a professional, it's a professional grade card. See, both of these are the exact same thing. This is really, really expensive. This is like $2. You can make it yourself. All you have to do is, you see the prior video, you can buy a couple of these 8x10 professionally printed 18% gray reflectance cards and make your own portable gray card like this. And you just have your model, hold it up. You need to obviously know if I have highlights coming over here versus over here. You need to know where to meter it, but that's a point for another discussion. You can stick it underneath the chin is the easiest way to do it. The same way you take an incident meter reading underneath someone's chin. But you still need to know, depending on what your lighting is, we need to be able to see lighting. But that's points for other discussions as well. So no difference between incident meter reading or using a reflectance meter and using an 18% gray card. It's the same damn thing. Like I said, that question, if you ask it to a teacher of photography, it'll stump them. It'll stump 99 out of 100 of them. They may figure it out, but if you ask them like this, they'll go, it's like you've stumped them. The answer is it's the same thing. Same thing, okay? Tip of the day. I've never heard anybody say that before, but that's the way it is, okay? Catch you later. Bye.